The locket dropped, and Ethan's world stopped. An artifact from the past surfaced in innocent hands, awakening a pain buried for years. Silence turned to panic, luxury became a threat, and a dangerous truth began to breathe. Silence was Ethan Blackwood's most costly luxury, a somber companion that permeated the vast corridors of Blackwood Manor. It was not the silence acquired with soundproof walls and double-paned glass, but rather that which settled within the soul, frigid and heavy, even at the heart of an estate worth fortunes, a patrimony that would inspire envy in any titan from Wall Street's gilded towers or Silicon Valley's innovation hubs. At 40 years of age, Ethan was the very embodiment of affluence, yet also of reclusion, a man who appeared to possess everything, save for the ineffable warmth of human connection. His days unfolded within a frigid routine, meticulously dictated by impersonal transactions and the profound absence of any genuine affection. Blackwood Manor, an architectural jewel majestically perched atop a sprawling luxury estate in Greenwich, Connecticut, served more as a gilded cage than a true home. Its imposing facades, meticulously manicured gardens and interiors, adorned with priceless art and bespoke designer furnishings, exuded a grandeur that, paradoxically, imprisoned Ethan within his own profound solitude. Were cameras capable of truly capturing the essence of the place, they would reveal empty corridors, echoing solely with Ethan's own measured steps or those of a distant employee, immense ballrooms where laughter or vibrant conversation remained forever unheard. Every objet d'art, every valuable painting, every bronze sculpture seemed merely to underscore the crushing absence of a meaningful presence within his life. It was a private museum, a sprawling gallery dedicated to his own profound melancholia. Ethan's eyes, once alight with a youthful sparkle that had vanished at some indeterminate point in his past, now bore the crushing weight of a tempest that refused to abate, a melancholia that clung to him like a second skin. The silent agony that consumed him was the bitter inheritance of an overwhelming loss, a traumatic event that had irrevocably rewritten the script of his existence, transforming him from a promising, passionate young man into a reclusive figure, almost a modern hermit, ensconced within an ocean of luxury and a desolate desert of feelings. Since that harrowing juncture, he had meticulously constructed invisible walls around himself, emotional barricades that shielded him from new sorrows, yet simultaneously isolated him from any nascent possibility of joy or genuine connection. He moved through the manor like a phantom, a mere spectre of his former self. Breakfast, served punctually by a discreet retinue of butlers, was consumed in absolute silence within the vast dining hall, its walls adorned with opulent Persian tapestries and portraits of distant, stoic ancestors. Ethan barely registered the exquisite fare or the delicate porcelain. His mind was already fully immersed in the labyrinthine world of figures, financial reports, and the weighty decisions requisite to maintain his formidable empire intact. His day comprised an unending sequence of virtual meetings and telephone calls, all conducted from his private study, an austere, functional environment where the sole concession to aesthetic comfort was a sweeping panoramic vista of the surrounding landscape, which he, in his profound absorption, rarely deigned to appreciate. Work remained his sole refuge, the only remaining facet that still afforded him a tenuous sense of purpose, a potent anesthetic for the persistent, throbbing ache within. Night descended, and with its advent came the chilling amplification of his solitude. Blackwood Manor seemed to expand even further, its echoes deepening into an oppressive silence. Ethan often spent hours within the cavernous library, idly turning the pages of books he did not truly read, merely seeking a fleeting diversion for a mind that stubbornly insisted on revisiting painful memories. The bottle of aged whiskey, an extravagant gift from some business associate, served as his sole confidant, the amber liquid offering a brief, deceptive solace. He knew, in the deepest recesses of his being, that he was merely existing, not truly living. His life was an unfinished masterpiece, a canvas painted with vibrant hues, yet lacking a soul, devoid of a central core that could impart meaning to all that material grandiosity. The profound absence of a significant presence in his existence was not a conscious choice, but rather an inexorable consequence of his trauma. He had, at sporadic junctures, attempted to move forward, but the lingering shadow of the past remained persistent, utterly overwhelming. Each tentative endeavor to reconnect with the world, to permit anyone to draw near, culminated in acute frustration and further anguish. He preferred the austere security of reclusion, the meticulous control over his own tumultuous emotions, even if it condemned him to inhabit an eternal emotional vacuum. To the world, he remained the formidable millionaire Ethan Blackwood, a man of unquestionable, towering success. To himself, he was merely a broken man, a grievously wounded heart cloaked behind an impenetrable fortress of fortune. This profound emotional wound served as the very bedrock of his desolate existence. It meticulously shaped every decision, every fleeting interaction, every agonizing breath. Blackwood Manor, with all its resplendent grandeur, was merely an external reflection of this pervasive interior desolation. The priceless objets d'art, the extravagantly expensive furnishings, the cutting-edge technology, none of it possessed the power to fill the profound void left by the loss that had haunted him for so many protracted years. He was a man who had long since relinquished the capacity for a genuine smile, for savoring the ethereal lightness of existence. His vast wealth was not a blessing, but a burdensome albatross, a constant, cruel reminder that no matter what material splendor it could procure, there were some things money could never, ever retrieve. It was within this bleak tableau of empty opulence and silent agony that Ethan's life unfolded, a monotonous, utterly predictable cycle. He had long since resigned himself to this solitary destiny, firmly believing that nothing, no one, could ever disrupt the meticulously constructed reclusive order he had forged. Yet destiny, ever the astute scriptwriter, harbored distinctly different plans. Ethan's introduction serves not only to establish his social standing, but more crucially, to reveal the profound depth of his emotional wound, meticulously preparing the terrain for the unforeseen arrival of an utterly unexpected element. Something was poised to irrevocably disrupt his entrenched reclusion, something infinitesimally small and seemingly utterly insignificant, yet imbued with the profound power to bridge a past he desperately strove to forget, a past he had erroneously believed to be buried forever beneath the dust of time. This initial narrative hook, the unspoken promise that his oppressive monotony would inevitably shatter, served to instigate a nascent curiosity regarding the genesis of his enduring pain and, more importantly, what, at long last, might possess the capacity to truly fill that gaping chasm. The manor's grand clock chimed the passing hours, meticulously marking the relentless march of time Ethan squandered in his own deliberate absence, utterly unaware that the hands of his own life were poised to pivot in a completely novel direction, propelled by a secret far closer than his melancholic imaginings allowed. Still absorbed in his meticulous routine and self-imposed silence, Ethan Blackwood lived his days like a luxury timepiece, precise and solitary. Yet, the hand of his existence, once fixed in a monotonous melancholy, would begin to move unexpectedly with the weekly arrival of Sarah Jenkins, the new housekeeper. Sarah did not come alone. Her daughter, Lily, a small creature of merely 2 years, was her constant shadow, a bundle of energy and curiosity that Sarah, with all the dignity and weariness of a single mother, attempted to keep in check. The presence of a child within Blackwood Manor was, in itself, a glaring anomaly, a vibrant contrast that challenged the austere, almost museological aura of the place. The manor, a classic-style palatial estate that seemed frozen in time, was a somber reflection of Ethan's immense wealth and profound reclusion. Its immense halls, replete with invaluable artworks and venerable antique furnishings, were typically dominated by a silence so profound it felt almost sacred, broken only by the distant echo of Ethan's own solitary footsteps or the delicate whisper of silk curtains swaying with an unseen breeze. But now, once a week, this sacrosanct quietude was gently invaded by soft giggles, the subtle scuffle of curious little feet, and Sarah's tender murmur as she attempted to guide her daughter. Lily, with her wide, inquisitive eyes and perpetually tousled hair, did not comprehend the sheer magnitude of the estate or the solemn gravity of its owner. For her, Blackwood Manor was an expansive, fantastical playground, teeming with unexplored nooks and countless objects awaiting discovery. As Sarah meticulously navigated between the whirring vacuum cleaners and the gentle caress of polishing cloths, striving for an almost ethereal discretion so as not to disturb her employer, Lily ventured forth with the unadulterated audacity of childhood. She crawled across intricate Persian rugs, peered playfully from behind sumptuous velvet sofas, and pointed at masterpieces worth fortunes, perceiving them as nothing more than vividly colored drawings. Sarah, her gaze perpetually tethered to the little girl, offered silent internal apologies to Ethan, who generally remained cloistered in his private study, seemingly oblivious to the subtle revolution unfolding within his ancestral home. The young housekeeper, a struggling woman of silent, formidable strength, carried the burdensome weight of the world upon her slender shoulders, yet she never allowed the deep despair of her daily struggle to surface. Her paramount concern remained the sustenance and well-being of Lily, and to secure that, she desperately needed to retain this demanding position, even if it meant navigating an environment so overwhelmingly opulent and, at times, profoundly intimidating. It was during one of these particular Thursdays, as the midday sun cascaded through the imposing windows and bathed the grand halls in a luminous glow, that the pivotal incident, destined to alter everything, irrevocably transpired. Ethan, adhering to his usual ritual, sat deeply engrossed in his thoughts, ensconced in a plush leather armchair within one of the manor's myriad reading salons. He feigned engagement with a rare leather-bound volume, yet in truth he was utterly lost within the labyrinthine corridors of his memories and the insidious, unyielding ache of a grief that had never truly abandoned him. The house was unexpectedly a touch more animated than usual. Sarah was meticulously tending to the upstairs chambers, and Lily, seizing a fleeting moment of her mother's diverted attention, had silently slipped into the main hall, that expansive space where the grand piano gleamed with a lacquered sheen, and the stoic marble statues seemed to observe the human drama with an almost divine indifference. Suddenly a soft sound, a faint metallic jingle, pierced the carefully curated silence of Ethan's solitude, drawing his attention. He reluctantly lifted his eyes, a flicker of irritation crossing his countenance, vexed by the intrusion into his meticulously cultivated melancholy. His gaze, sharp and involuntary, then fixated upon Lily's diminutive figure. The little girl sat serenely on the polished marble floor, precisely in the center of the opulent hall, her tiny legs outstretched and a bright, gap-toothed smile gracing her face. In her chubby, innocent hands, she manipulated a simple necklace, yet one that appeared to bear a disproportionate, almost mystical weight for her tender age. It was a vintage locket, crafted from aged metal, emblazoned with the subtly embossed image of a couple, their faces softened and rendered indistinct by the relentless passage of time and constant wear. Ethan's world seemed to violently cease its rotation in that precise, harrowing instant. A colossal wave of shock and searing recognition, frigid and utterly overwhelming, cascaded through every fiber of his being, paralyzing him. His eyes, once so distant and desolate, now dilated with an alarming intensity, fixing upon the object in Lily's hands with a visceral ferocity that would have undoubtedly terrified anyone else. The very air seemed to abandon his lungs, leaving him gasping, and an icy chill snaked down his spine, an unsettling, profound sense of déjà vu, so disorienting that it compelled him to involuntarily hold his breath. It could not be. This could not possibly be real. The necklace, the locket, it was uncannily identical, exactly the same. The piece, seemingly insignificant to any other observer, was a faithful, haunting replica, or perhaps the very original, of an artifact Ethan had personally commissioned and given to Eleanor Vance, the woman he had loved with an intensity that defied language and lost so tragically many years ago. A unique jewel, custom-made, a sacred memento he had fervently believed to be irretrievably lost forever, inextricably intertwined with the phantom memory of that profound, vanished love. Ethan's heart, a dormant drum for so long, began to beat with a wild, erratic force, a frantic percussion within his chest, as the spectral image of the locket in Lily's innocent hands brutally superimposed itself over the vivid, agonizing memories of a past he had tried, so desperately and so in vain, to bury beneath layers of wealth and solitude. That singular moment was the inexorable turning point, The unforeseen spark that vehemently ignited the smoldering embers of curiosity and suspicion deep within his reclusive, fractured soul. Ethan's profound solitude, once a grim, constant companion, was now poised to be ruthlessly supplanted by a relentless, consuming quest for answers, a harrowing, perilous journey that would inevitably unearth long-dormant secrets and dismantle the very foundations of his carefully constructed world. The image of that small object in Lily's hands struck Ethan Blackwood like a bolt of lightning, freezing him in place amidst the opulent hall of Blackwood Manor. It was not merely a necklace, it was the necklace, a tangible fragment of a past he had, for years, painstakingly endeavored to seal away within himself. Every fiber of his being reacted with an electric shock, a bewildering confluence of disbelief and a sharp, tearing ache that seemed to rend his chest. His blue eyes, usually distant and calculating, now fixed upon the locket with an almost feverish intensity, reviving in a chaotic maelstrom memories he believed to be buried forever beneath layers of luxury and solitude. The gleam of the aged gold, the delicate filigree of the chain, and above all the engraved image of the couple, identical, unmistakable. He approached the child with an uncharacteristic caution, each deliberate step echoing on the polished marble like a drum against his chest. His heart hammered, an erratic rhythm that seemed poised to burst forth. Lily, oblivious to the tempest brewing within the magnate, giggled as she swung the locket, light glinting off the metal. Ethan knelt, the towering difference in their heights collapsing for an instant, and extended his hand, hesitant, almost fearful of touching the piece. His fingers grazed the object, and it was as if an electric current surged through him, dredging forth the scent of jasmine, the melody of an old song, the sensation of a light laugh. "Lily," he managed to utter. His voice, barely controlled, came out hoarse, almost a whisper. Where did you find this, my little one?" The 2-year-old girl, with innocence etched upon her face, paused her play for a moment, her curious eyes fixed on him. She did not comprehend the gravity of the situation, nor the anguish overflowing from the man before her. With a wide, carefree smile, she pointed her tiny finger toward the kitchen door, where Sarah, her mother, was working, the subtle clatter of pots and running water emanating from within. "Mommy," she babbled, as if it were the most self-evident answer in the world. The word mommy resonated in Ethan's ears, a strident bell that jolted him from the trance of memories. He rose abruptly, his eyes now fixed in the direction Lily had indicated. The silent mistrust that had begun to germinate within his core since the first glimpse of the locket, now transformed into an overwhelming surge of unspoken questions, of impossible scenarios that began to unfold in his mind. How? Why? Was this merely a cruel coincidence, a similar piece bought somewhere, or was there something more? Something he was utterly unprepared to confront. He walked toward the kitchen, each step laden with a palpable, escalating tension. Sarah stood with her back to him, organizing some utensils, humming a low melody. She did not perceive Ethan's approach until he stopped at the threshold, his imposing figure filling the space. The ensuing silence was heavy, severing the lightness of the air. Sarah turned, slightly startled by her employer's unexpected presence, as he rarely ventured into the kitchen, and even less so with such a solemn, almost disturbed expression upon his face. "Sarah," Ethan articulated, his voice now firmer yet still laden with an urgency she had never before encountered. His eyes, previously fixed on the locket, now bored into hers, attempting to decipher every line, every nuance of her expression. "Where did you obtain this necklace?" He extended his hand, displaying the piece that Lily, still playing, held. Sarah palpably paled. Caught by surprise and somewhat intimidated by the intensity of her employer's gaze, which seemed intent on reading her very soul, she hesitated for a moment. Her heart quickened, a pang of apprehension mingling with confusion. Why was Mr. Blackwood so intensely interested in a simple necklace? She glanced at her daughter, then back at Ethan, struggling to find the right words, her mind desperately striving to connect the disparate threads, unable to comprehend the reason for this sudden inquisition. It's a family heirloom, Mr. Blackwood," she began, her voice slightly choked with surprise. "An inheritance. My mother gave it to me. She always cherished it dearly, you see. She said it was a talisman, that it belonged to my grandmother and then passed to her, and now to me. She gestured with her hands, attempting to convey the simplicity of the story, the tradition behind the object. "It's nothing special, just an old memento." Sarah's response, though seemingly simple and straightforward, failed to soothe Ethan. On the contrary, each word seemed to deepen the enigma, escalating his disquiet to nearly unbearable levels. A family heirloom, a talisman, passed down through generations. The piece, which he believed to be utterly unique, an exclusive symbol of his lost love, an unbreakable link to his most painful past, now surfaced in the hands of a child, originating from a woman he barely knew, an employee in his own home. Ethan's mind spun at a frantic pace, desperately striving to connect the disparate points, searching for any flaw in Sarah's explanation, any hint that this was more than a terrible coincidence. But the resemblance was undeniable. The engraving, the material, the design. Everything was identical. His reason screamed it was impossible, yet his heart, that stubborn organ he had tried to silence for so long, whispered the possibility of something far grander, far more profound. That object, which he preserved in his memory as a singular relic, was now Sarah Jenkins' family heirloom. The universe seemed to mock him, or perhaps, in a cruel twist, was attempting to unveil something he stubbornly refused to perceive. The truth, he felt, was near, so close he could almost touch it, yet shrouded in a mist of doubts and secrets that demanded unraveling. With each passing second, Ethan's disquiet became more palpable, transforming into an urgent need to know, to unearth, to comprehend. He could no longer ignore the locket's insistent summons. Sarah's explanation, which ought to have dispelled Ethan's doubts, merely plunged them deeper, casting him into a maelstrom of memories and questions that had long lain dormant. Her words, claiming the locket was an inheritance from a distant aunt, rang hollow, a faint echo amidst the cacophony of his own mind. There was no logic, no discernible meaning in such an overwhelming coincidence. Feeling the urgent imperative to isolate himself, to meticulously process the vivid immediacy of his experience, Ethan retreated into the opulent solitude of his private study at Blackwood Manor. The heavy, solid wood door closed behind him with a dull thud, sealing him within his personal sanctuary, away from the curious gazes of the staff and the perturbing presence of Sarah and Lily. The locket, now cradled in his hands, seemed to vibrate with an energy all its own, a weight not merely of gold and metal, but of a past he had desperately tried to enter. His fingers traced the engraved image of the couple, feeling each contour, every meticulous detail that seemed to scream a forgotten history. That object, so deceptively simple in its conception, was a visceral portal to a pain he had carefully anesthetized for years, a wound he had believed to be irrevocably scarred, but which now throbbed with an overwhelming intensity. Images of Eleanor, the woman he had loved with an all-consuming passion, and lost so abruptly and cruelly, invaded his mind with a painful, almost palpable clarity. It was as if time had receded, and he was once again living those days, those very hours. He saw himself back on the day he had given her an identical locket, a potent symbol of their eternal love, of a future they had meticulously planned, a future that, for Ethan, was the only one worthy of being lived. That day, sun-drenched and brimming with promises, stood in brutal contrast to the profound darkness that had inevitably followed. He remembered her smile, the way her eyes had sparkled upon seeing the piece, the silent promise they had exchanged with the gesture. It was meant to be an amulet, an unbreakable bond, and for years it had been the sole thread connecting him to her, until the pain became unbearable, and he had secreted it away, out of sight, out of heart, in the vain hope that the object's absence might extinguish hers. The grief of loss, that soul-gnawing emptiness that he had quelled with ceaseless work, immeasurable wealth, and self-imposed isolation, now surged back with an implacable, full force. It was an emotional tsunami, sweeping away every formidable barrier he had meticulously constructed over the long years. He felt the tightening in his chest, the parched throat, his eyes burning with unshed tears. The mourning, which he had presumed processed, but which in truth he had merely relegated to a dark, remote corner of his existence, had returned, demanding his undivided attention, clamoring for elusive answers. The fragmented puzzle in his mind began to coalesce. piece by intricate piece, albeit in a bewildering and terrifying formation. How could such a profoundly personal, singularly unique object, which he believed belonged solely to them, now be in the possession of Sarah Jenkins, the housekeeper of his very own manor? The probability was so infinitesimally small, so utterly absurd, that reason desperately attempted to contend with intuition, but Ethan's heart, long silenced, now beat strongly with a new and disquieting rhythm. That cherished piece was not merely a simple jewel, it was a relic, a tangible fragment of his history, a palpable shard of his very soul. The unsettling possibility of a profound connection between Sarah, Lily, and Eleanor, however remote and improbable it appeared, was both profoundly perturbing and, simultaneously, strangely irresistible. Could Sarah be a distant relative of Eleanor's? Had Eleanor possessed a sister, a cousin he had never known? Or could there be something far deeper, infinitely more complex, a profound secret Eleanor had diligently guarded, which now, years after her untimely demise, was surfacing through a mere locket and an innocent child? Ethan's mind seethed with myriad scenarios, some plausibly coherent, others worthy of the most melodramatic screenplay, but all culminating in the same singular, haunting question: who, truly, was Sarah Jenkins? Ethan found himself compelled to investigate, to meticulously unravel the enigma behind that vintage locket. It was no longer a question of fleeting curiosity or a nostalgic recollection. It was a visceral necessity, a relentless quest for a truth he felt had been unfairly denied him, a chance to comprehend the past and perhaps to forge a new meaning for the present. He needed to know. He needed to delve profoundly, whatever the ultimate cost. From that pivotal moment, his entire perspective concerning Sarah and Lily underwent a dramatic metamorphosis. They were no longer merely the housekeeper and her daughter, ephemeral secondary figures in his reclusive life. They became the inescapable focus of his intense attention, the potential pivotal links to a revelation that could unequivocally rewrite the entirety of his story. He began to observe them with a new, piercing acuity, searching for any subtle indications, gestures, physical resemblances, or telling mannerisms that might either confirm or refute his growing and profoundly perturbing suspicions. Every deliberate movement of Sarah's, every innocent peal of Lily's laughter, every minute detail of their interactions within Blackwood Manor would now be meticulously analyzed by Ethan, akin to a detective relentlessly pursuing obscure clues. This moment unequivocally marked the profound commencement of his arduous journey of discovery, a journey he knew would be agonizingly painful, but one also powerfully propelled by the tenuous, albeit persistent hope of unearthing a truth that could, at long last, bring some elusive sense to his enduring pain, to his irreparable loss. The locket was not merely a melancholic reminder of what he had tragically lost. It was now the indisputable key to unraveling the complex puzzle of his life, the compelling promise of a profound revelation he had never known he so desperately needed. The resonant echo of the past had definitively awakened, and Ethan Blackwood was prepared to listen to it, to meticulously follow its haunting call, no matter where its somber path ultimately led him. From that moment, a fervent determination ignited within Ethan Blackwood, searing away years of apathy. No mere locket curiosity, but an urgent need to unravel the intricate mysteries entwining Sarah Jenkins, diminutive Lily, and the arcane object bearing the couple's enigmatic image. The petrified rigidity defining his essence yielded, giving way to a nascent, veiled curiosity he scarcely recognized. His days in Blackwood Manor, once a monotonous, solitary regimen, now acquired subtle nuances, delicate observations previously unperceived. He observed Lily with an intensity bordering on profound fascination. The child, a miniature hurricane of unbridled energy and pure joy, permeated Blackwood Manor's vast echoing halls. Ethan watched her dash through manicured gardens, her hair a silken cascade unbound by the wind, or settle upon the drawing-room floor, absorbed in humble playthings, a tattered teddy bear or vibrant building blocks. Each crystalline peal of Lily's laughter chimed within his desolate chest, a sound unheard for so long, its melody had almost faded from memory. Her innate spontaneity presented a stark contrast to his calculated, frigid existence, and Ethan found himself irresistibly drawn into that untarnished purity. Small, almost imperceptible gestures of interaction manifested. Initially, a prolonged gaze, a discreet, fleeting smile that barely grazed his lips, when Lily from afar offered a small wave. Subsequently, a gentle good morning transcended mere formality, becoming a genuine acknowledgement of her vibrant presence. One day, Lily dropped her cherished red fire truck near where Ethan perused his newspaper in his private study's hushed sanctity. Without conscious thought, he instinctively stooped, retrieved the miniature vehicle and extended it. Lily, devoid of fear or shyness, accepted her toy with an unblemished smile and uttered a softly slurred "thank you," a sound that seemed to liquefy something profound within his core. The fleeting interaction lasted mere seconds, yet for Ethan, it unfolded with the profound weight of an eternity, a poignant glimpse into a world he had meticulously sealed away. He observed Lily at play, his mind wandering into the nascent wonders he imagined within her small, untroubled consciousness. A profound, long-exiled emotion stirred within him, a nascent warmth that subtly melted the glacial sheath encasing his spirit. It was a sensation novel, yet eerily familiar, as if a fractured fragment of his heart, long presumed defunct, now embarked upon a hesitant beat. Lily's unblemished innocence served as a soothing balm, her infectious joy, a poignant melody Ethan slowly began to cherish. The reclusive magnate, meticulously shunning human contact, seeking refuge within his opulent solitude's gilded cage, was irrevocably disarmed by a 2-year-old child's unguarded essence. Sarah discerned a subtle, undeniable metamorphosis within her employer. Initially a vague sensation, an ethereal impression that the manor's atmosphere had grown less dense, less oppressively heavy. Subsequently, nascent signals coalesced into undeniable clarity. Ethan's gaze upon Lily, once distantly absent, now bore a profound depth Sarah found utterly undecipherable. She witnessed his discreet smiles, his gentle gestures, the way he seemed to thaw in the child's vibrant presence. Sarah maintained unwavering caution, perpetually torn between burgeoning gratitude for Ethan's unexpected kindness toward Lily and a lingering apprehension that this proximity could precipitate unforeseen complications. The abyssal chasm separating their disparate worlds, coupled with her clandestine secret potent enough to implode any fragile bridge, meant she could not afford the perilous luxury of lowering her meticulously erected guard, especially with Lily's innocent existence inextricably entwined. Yet, Lily's inherent innocence functioned as an organic, unforced bridge, connecting two distinct worlds previously irreconcilable. The child perceived not the reclusive magnate, but merely a man who, unexpectedly, appeared less formidable, perhaps even amused. To her, Ethan was another intriguing figure within her burgeoning universe of discoveries, and she responded with the profound spontaneity inherent only to a child, utterly devoid of preconceptions or fears. She regarded him as she would the vibrant butterflies in manicured gardens or transient birds upon the roofline, with genuine curiosity, untainted by ulterior motives. Ethan, through the crystalline prism of Lily's innocent gaze, began to glimpse the faint possibility that life might offer more than the desolate solitude he had stoically accepted as his unyielding destiny. Those fleeting moments of profound connection, Lily's resonant laughter, the incandescent warmth radiating from her small being, were rekindling within him a faint spark of hope. He remained ignorant of what the veiled future held, or which shattering truths might surface with revelations concerning the locket and Sarah. Yet one stark certainty anchored his burgeoning awareness. He was irrevocably no longer the man he once was. The ancient calcified ice encasing his heart visibly cracked, and he found himself, for the first time in an immeasurable span, prepared to truly feel, to willingly unfurl to the vast, daunting unknown, even if it meant revisiting the deepest sorrows of his buried past. The inexorable truth now knocked with profound insistence at Blackwood Manor's formidable gates. With its unveiling came the haunting prospect of a new life, unlike anything he had ever dared to conceive. The silent transformation consuming Ethan Blackwood did not escape the keen perception of Vivian Blackwood. His elder sister, 45, with a life impeccably curated and a perpetually poised demeanor, vigilantly guarded not merely the family's immense fortune, but more profoundly the unblemished Blackwood name. She observed with surgical precision every minute deviation in Ethan's conduct. Each nascent smile once reserved for himself, now bestowed upon little Lily, every lingering exchange of glances with Sarah. For Vivian, Blackwood Manor was more than a residence. It was a grand stage where the family's venerable reputation was ceaselessly enacted, and any deviation from the script represented a latent menace. The perpetual presence of the housekeeper and her child, once a simple convenience, now signified an unforgivable breach of protocol. Vivian perceived in their escalating interactions a risk to reputation, a fissure in the facade of invulnerability the family cherished. She harbored a visceral dread that Ethan, still fragile from Eleanor's loss, could be manipulated. Eleanor's tragic memory served Vivian as justification for her stringent oversight. She saw herself as the sole bulwark shielding him from his vulnerabilities, and now from this woman and her child, who seemed to unravel his meticulously constructed universe. "That child is becoming quite comfortable, don't you think, Ethan?" she remarked one morning. As they sipped coffee on the veranda, Vivian's eyes fastened upon Lily, who, in the garden's verdant expanse, laughed, chasing an errant butterfly. Ethan, graced by an uncharacteristic smile observing the scene, felt the comment pierce him like a precisely aimed pin. "She is merely a child, Vivian. She imbues this place with life." Ethan's concise retort, its timbre resonating with a nascent firmness Vivian had not discerned in years, merely ignited a more profound alarm within her meticulous mind. "Life is one concept, Ethan. Disorder an entirely different one. What will society murmur? The staff already whisper, you comprehend. A housekeeper and her offspring. It is rather excessive, don't you concur?" Vivian did not favor immediate, overt confrontations. Her preferred methodology was insidious insinuation, the subtle evocation of social boundaries. She commenced making more frequent appearances at the manor under benign pretexts of organizing the estate's finances or reviewing plans for the charitable gala. During these calculated visitations, her eyes meticulously swept across every opulent chamber, dissecting each nascent interaction. She noted with deepening disquiet how Sarah, once virtually a phantom, now exchanged words with Ethan, at times even a fleeting smile. And Lily, Lily. The child seemed gifted with an uncanny ability to permeate every stratified space, including, most alarmingly, her brother's sequestered heart. "Sarah, my dear, the work in the West Wing is somewhat delayed, is it not?" Vivian purred, encountering the housekeeper in the main hall, where Lily sketched with crayons under Ethan's attentive gaze. "I think it would be more productive to focus your efforts there in the morning. The main hall needs deeper cleaning at day's end, when no one is around." This was an order disguised as a suggestion, an attempt to distance Sarah and Lily from Ethan's schedule. Sarah, with unyielding dignity, merely nodded. "Of course, Miss Blackwood, I will do as you instruct." But the tightness in her chest was real. She felt the tension, the changing glances, the distance Vivian sought to impose. Ethan, however, was no longer the reclusive, detached man. The locket's discovery, the truth unfolding, had awakened something. He perceived Vivian's maneuvers, her attempts to isolate him from Sarah and Lily. "Vivian, why are you changing Sarah's schedule without consulting me?" he demanded on another occasion, his voice imbued with unaccustomed authority that stunned his sister. "I am just optimizing service, Ethan. Maintaining the manor's impeccable prestige is paramount, and the child's constant presence can be a distraction for staff. Do you not concur?" She attempted a brittle smile that failed to reach her icy eyes. "It does not seem a distraction, Vivian. Quite the contrary. Sarah does excellent work. No need to change anything." The discourse ended, but Vivian felt her world tremble. Ethan was different. This metamorphosis filled her with profound trepidation. Vivian's distrust was not solely rooted in reputation. It extended, with avaricious precision, to their fortune. She, who had governed family enterprises with an iron fist since her parents' demise and Ethan's reclusion, perceived in Sarah the specter of a potential fortune hunter. "Exercise caution, Ethan," she admonished him during a formal dinner from which Sarah and Lily were absent. "Vulnerable hearts can be grievously exploited, especially when a child is involved. I would not wish for you to regret any decision." Ethan slowly lowered his fork, silver clinking sharply against porcelain. "Are you implying Sarah is taking advantage of me, Vivian? Do you know her? Do you comprehend her arduous work, the profound sacrifices for Lily?" Ethan's low, controlled rumble, laden with intense current, compelled Vivian to recoil. This marked the first time he had confronted her so directly regarding Sarah. The inexorable ascent of palpable tension was inevitable. Vivian, disinclined to countenance the unsettling dynamic, initiated a clandestine investigation into Sarah's shrouded life. She discreetly engaged a private detective to unearth any information regarding the housekeeper's past, hoping to discover some damning revelation to substantiate her fears. Her sole objective was to prove Sarah was not the unassuming woman she appeared to be, that a hidden motive existed for her disconcerting presence, for her profound connection with Ethan. The detective's report arrived days hence, a slender folder Vivian's trembling hands unclasped. She perused its contents, detailing Sarah's humble existence, her unwavering devotion, the inexplicable absence of Lily's father, who had vanished subsequent to the child's birth. Therein lay no trace of anything incriminating, until her eyes alighted upon a nuance, a solitary line delineating Sarah's familial lineage. Sarah's mother, deceased, had been in the employ of a prominent old money family in a nearby affluent town years prior, and the family's name? Vance. Yet, an unsettling detail emerged. A maiden name. Eleanor. No, this intellectual dissonance was jarring, a grievous error, a cruel coincidence. Vivian reread, her heart commencing a frantic drumbeat. The report chillingly indicated that Sarah's mother, Maria Jenkins, had two daughters, Sarah herself and a younger sister, Eleanor Vance, who had migrated to the bustling city and perished tragically young. The profound shock was brutal, an unyielding blow to her worldview. The detective had delved deeper than she anticipated, unearthing a past Vivian had striven to keep interred. She knew Eleanor, whom Ethan had loved and lost, was an orphan with an elder sister she had never known. Eleanor's family remained an enigma to Ethan, a sorrowful mystery he lacked fortitude to investigate after tragedy. Vivian had meticulously suppressed any nascent curiosity, fearing Ethan might plunge deeper into grief. But now the truth, stark and irrefutable, lay bare. Sarah was not merely a housekeeper, she was Eleanor's sister, Lily's aunt. And Lily, in turn, was Eleanor's daughter, not Sarah's. The locket. Everything with agonizing precision finally aligned. The vintage locket Lily wore, identical to Eleanor's, emblazoned with the haunting image of the embracing couple. That enigmatic couple was Eleanor and Ethan, and Lily was not Sarah's daughter, but Eleanor's and Ethan's. Sarah, the unassuming housekeeper, had guarded this profound secret for arduous years, shielding her sister's child, Ethan's child, from a world she remained uncertain would accept her. The crushing truth struck Vivian with lightning force. Her obsessive protection, ingrained distrust, relentless attempts to distance Sarah and Lily, all rendered futile. She had been attempting to repel her own niece, Ethan's daughter, and Ethan, the man she had shielded, possessed a daughter whose existence he never suspected. That same day, Vivian, pallid and tear-streaked, confronted Ethan. Gone were her subtle words, her veiled insinuations. The folder clutched in her trembling hands. The raw, overwhelming truth demanded utterance. "Ethan, I investigated Sarah. I was wrong. I had to know." Vivian's voice fractured. Ethan, confused, demanded, "What did you discover, Vivian? What have you done?" She extended the folder, her face twisted in regret and shock. Sarah is Eleanor's sister. And Lily is your daughter, Ethan, Eleanor's child. Sarah raised her as her own. Ethan's world stood utterly still. The report, the faded photos of young Eleanor, the confirmation of her sister's name, all unfurled with devastating clarity. The locket, Lily's uncanny resemblance to Eleanor, Sarah's quiet strength. Everything clicked. The piercing anguish of Eleanor's loss, interwoven with the burgeoning joy and incredulity of fatherhood, proved overwhelmingly potent. He gazed upon Vivian, not with rage but with melancholic understanding. She had acted from fear, a tragically distorted form of love. Ethan sought out Sarah in the garden, where Lily frolicked with unburdened gaiety, oblivious to the truth swirling around her. He knelt, the heavy locket clasped, his eyes raw with emotion fixed steadfastly upon hers. "Sarah, why did you never impart this truth to me?" Ethan's voice was a profound whisper, laden with sorrow and fragile hope. Sarah, her eyes brimming with silent tears, recounted her poignant narrative. Eleanor, her younger sister, had conceived Ethan's child, and dreading repercussions from the Blackwood family, meticulously concealed her pregnancy. When Eleanor tragically succumbed during childbirth, Sarah, bound by a sacred promise, vowed to care for Lily, perpetuating the secret to shield the child from a world she believed would reject her. Her fervent desire was for Lily to experience a life of unadorned simplicity, far removed from society's spotlights and the pressures of the haute bourgeoisie, until she matured to comprehend. The locket, a poignant, final vestige of Eleanor's love, containing her and Ethan's image, remained Lily's sole tangible remembrance of her biological parents. With time's inexorable passage, Blackwood Manor underwent profound transformation. It ceased to be a bastion of reclusion and solitude, blossoming into a vibrant home, overflowing with laughter, newfound colors, and Lily's infectious energy. Ethan, once encased in frigid detachment, rediscovered the joy of living. He embraced his unknown role as Lily's father, dedicating himself with a love he never conceived. Sarah was no longer merely a housekeeper. She became an indispensable nexus in the lives of Ethan and Lily, guardian of Eleanor's memory, and the crucial bridge to a future of affection and complicity. Gradually, the nascent friendship between Ethan and Sarah burgeoned into something far more profound, an emotional architecture extending beyond gratitude and responsibility, transmogrifying into a mature, resilient love, constructed upon shared truth, mutual respect, and triumph over adversity. Vivian, finally confronted with the magnitude of her tragic misjudgment and the purity of the love binding this nascent family, at last lowered her rigid guard. She offered a heartfelt, contrite plea for forgiveness to both Sarah and Ethan, a sincere supplication received with the same unyielding dignity Sarah had stoically borne Vivian's suspicions. Vivian, in that profound epiphany, comprehended that the true wealth of the Blackwood family resided not in material fortune or social status, but in the enduring capacity to love, forgive, and profoundly reconnect with the human spirit. Lily, the diminutive, unwitting custodian of the vintage locket, emerged as the pivotal key that irrevocably unlocked Ethan's long-shuttered heart and, in so doing, revealed to all that love, even after irreparable loss, invariably finds a resilient pathway to rebirth.